The time is 1:15. Here's the news edited by Catherine Pereira, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. Central Environment Authority investigating into ship carrying toxic wastes from US. Local milk powder consumption slowly increasing. 361 billion rupees to be paid for local contractors for their projects completed. Sinhala Odyssey new luxury tourist trains will operate from Friday. Alutsahal Mangalya will be held on the 6th of this month in Anuradhapura. Israel, Gaza. Food charity says 8 workers killed in strike. Local news in detail. The Central Environment Authority has launched a comprehensive investigation into the incident where a Singapore cargo ship was carrying hazardous materials to Sri Lanka from the US, State Minister of Environment Janaka Wakkumura said today. He told Parliament that the CEA was unaware that the cargo ship carrying hazardous materials was heading to Sri Lanka. The minister said this while responding to a question raised by opposition leader Sajid Premdasu, who asked the government's reaction to the media reports on the Singapore cargo ship Dali, chartered by Maersk, which crashed into the Baltimore, U.S. bridge on March 26, carrying 764 tons of hazardous materials. The opposition leader said a proper investigation should be conducted as to how such a cargo ship carrying hazardous materials was heading to Sri Lanka without the knowledge of the country. Minister Mahinda Amaravera says that representatives of some political parties are trying to remove the farmer communities from the paddy cultivation. He made these remarks at a ceremony held at the Lunama Agrarian Service Center. He said that the Alutsahal Mangalya will be held on the 6th of this month in Anuradhapura. Collecting of rice from district level will be further implemented in this regard. Currently, the rice stocks needed for the country has already been produced. Sri Lanka's monthly milk powder consumption, which almost halved following the economic crisis due to the price escalation, is witnessing a slight increase, a senior industry representative said. The monthly milk powder consumption, which was about 7,000 metric tons pre-COVID, dropped to about 3,000 metric tons over the last 3 years, due to the price increase caused by the increase in the US dollar, an increase in the global market milk prices, and a hike in government taxes. However, with the economic conditions slightly improving, over 1 million households have returned to the market, although the overall consumption remains lower than the pre-COVID levels. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, Minister Dr. Bandulu Kundawadana says that 361 billion rupees to be paid for the local contractors for the projects they have completed. He said this in Parliament that the Road Development Authority could not pay the money for thousands of contractors due to the past economic crisis. The situation is being settled. Meanwhile, Sinhala Odyssey new luxury tourist trains will be operated on Friday. Minister Bandulu Kundawadana said that this train service will be operated to mark the 100th anniversary of the up-country railway line. Police says that members of organized crime gang based on the western and southern provinces have been taken into custody. Accordingly, another 12 persons have been taken into custody yesterday. So far, 237 such persons have been apprehended due to the special operations conducted by the police. That ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Veda Mahatmya.
University Lecturers Federation says that there were 6,200 university lecturers earlier, but most of the lecturers have left the country last year. Therefore, the University Grants Commission has given permission to recruit new lecturers to the university network. Measures will be taken to solve the existing problems in the universities.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Vedamahatmya.
Watch Live is brought to you by
CIB Navy offer valuable gifts and gift vouchers, 25% discount for bank cards till 10th of April. Visit CIB today. CIB revives once always.
State Minister of Finance Ranjit Sembrapatia says instructions have been issued to transfer all officers of the Excise Department's Narcotics Prevention Unit in the aftermath of the arrest of 4 excise officers with a haul of cannabis. A statement issued by the State Minister's media unit stated that the 4 officers of the Excise Department who were arrested while transporting Kerala cannabis have been interdicted and that a special investigation has been ordered into the incident. That came to you on Watchlight.
CIB Navy offer valuable gifts and gift vouchers, 25% discount for bank cards till 10th of April. Visit CIB today. CIB revives once always.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines first. Israel, Gaza, food charity sells aid workers killed in strike. Australia's Prime Minister demands full accountability over the death of Gaza aid worker. North Korea fires suspected intermediate-range ballistic missile. World News in detail. Aid workers, including an Australian and 2 people said to be British and Polish, have been killed in Gaza in what their charity founders said was an Israeli attack. World Central Kitchen WCK founder and chef Josh Andrews said his staff had been killed in an IDF airstrike. Gaza's Hamas-run media office also blamed Israel. The alleged strike could not be verified independently. Israel's military said it was conducting a thorough review. A journalist working for the BBC in Gaza has seen the bodies of 3 international aid workers and a Palestinian driver recovered from the site of the alleged airstrike. Foreign passports were also shown. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has demanded full accountability over the death of Australian aid worker Zomi Francombe in Gaza. Francombe was one of 4 international aid workers that Palestinian officials say were killed along with their Palestinian driver yesterday in an Israeli attack in central Gaza's Deir al-Balah. Speaking at a news conference in Brisbane, Albanese said Francombe's death was completely unacceptable and beyond any reasonable circumstances. This news today is tragic. DFAT have also requested a call-in from the Israeli ambassador as well. Albanese said, referring to Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. North Korea has fired a suspected intermediate-range ballistic missile into the sea off its east coast. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said that it detected the launch from the area of the North Korean capital Pyongyang today. We have stepped up monitoring and are closely sharing relevant information with the US and Japan, they added. Tokyo confirmed the launch with the Coast Guard urging vessels to be vigilant and report any fallen objects without approaching them. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida condemned the launch, telling reporters North Korea had repeatedly launched ballistic missiles this year, adding that it was a threat to regional security and absolutely unacceptable. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Israel, Gaza, food charity sells aid workers killed in strike. Australia's Prime Minister demands full accountability over death of Gaza aid worker. North Korea fires suspected intermediate-range ballistic missile. That ends world news. Moving on to development news. Construction work of the main canal of the Kungaswaba in the Badalkumbura Divisional Secretariat Division has commenced. Necessary financial assistance is being provided by the Ministry of Irrigation. 300 farmer families in the area will be benefited. That came to you on Development News.
Moving on with sports news.
Dinesh Chandimal has withdrawn from the team playing the second test match against Bangladesh with immediate effect due to a family medical emergency. Accordingly, Chandimal will return home immediately, Sri Lanka Cricket said. Sri Lanka Cricket, his teammates and the coaching staff fully support Dinesh Chandimal at this moment of need and request the public to respect his performance and his family's privacy, SLBC said. Today is the fourth day of the second test match between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, which is being played in Chattogram, Bangladesh. That ends sports news.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
5 leading export associations have called on the authorities to tackle the pressing challenges posed by the Sri Lankan rupee's appreciation against the US dollar. They also highlighted the additional hurdles, including the restrictions on foreign currency movement between commercial banks and compulsory conversion of export earnings into the local currency. A stronger rupee means our goods become more expensive for international buyers, directly affecting our competitiveness in the global market. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news. After 4 years hiatus, Thai Airways flight TG307 arrived at Bandar Naik International Airport in Katunayake at 11:55 p.m. yesterday. Originating from Bangkok, Thailand, the flight carried approximately 150 foreign tourists, including Thai nationals. According to Katunayake Airport authorities, flights between Thailand and Sri Lanka were now operating daily. That ends economic news.
Weather report.
Showers or thundershows will occur at several places in western, Sabaragamu, central, southern and Uva provinces after 2 p.m. Fairly heavy showers, about 75 mm, are likely at some places in western, Sabaragamu and central provinces and in Galle and Matra districts. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in western, central, Sabaragamu and Uva provinces and in Galle and Matra districts during the morning. That ends weather report. To wrap up the afternoon news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Central Environment Authority investigating into ship carrying toxic waste from US. Local milk powder consumption slowly increasing. 361 billion rupees to be paid for the local contractors for their project completed. Dunhindwali's new luxury tourist trains will be operated from Friday. Alutsahal Mangalya will be held on the 6th of this month in Anuradhapura. Foreign news, Israel Gaza food charity says 8 workers killed in strike. With that, we wrap up the afternoon news on Radio Sri Lanka. The time is exactly 30 minutes down 1 o'clock. Till 2 p.m. it's going to be lunchtime music on Radio Sri Lanka.